Hey Mission Hills Church family, I wanted to give the prayer update, but instead of sending it through email, I thought I'd send it through a video. And since this is Thanksgiving week, I thought I would go ahead and give you some interesting tidbits about the history of Thanksgiving. And many of you probably don't know this, but the first Thanksgiving that we have recorded in America was in 1541, and it was celebrated by Francisco Vasquez de Coronado in Amarillo, Texas, out of all places. And you may or may not care, but I just really wanted a reason to say his name. So, and then there were various Thanksgivings that were celebrated after that, days of thanks to God. And the French, the Spanish, and the English beat the Americans to it. Go figure. And the one that you're probably most familiar with is the one that was celebrated in 1620 by the Pilgrims and the Indians. And just a cool story where Squanto, the Indian, who's a real historical character, came, found the Pilgrims, and about half of them had died off. Half of the settlers who had came over on the Mayflower were dead by that point. And they thought they were going to all die in Massachusetts. And so Squanto comes, and he actually speaks English, and he's able to help them hunt, fish, plant crops, and build homes that can survive through the harsh winters. And Squanto was actually a slave in Europe and became a Christian and was able to make his way back to the Americas. And kind of a Joseph story where he was, by the providence of God, brought back to save the Pilgrims from a really terrible fate. And so that's the one you're probably most familiar with from elementary school and the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving videos. And there were other Thanksgivings celebrated after that. And then another famous Thanksgiving was celebrated by George Washington. He made a proclamation. In fact, it was the first presidential proclamation ever. So presidential proclamation number 1 was a day of thanksgiving to God for the various blessings that we have. And the modern day version of Thanksgiving actually came about in 1863 when Abraham Lincoln made a proclamation and a decree to essentially make a day of Thanksgiving that would last, and that's the modern day equivalent that we celebrate today. And there was just something interesting from that original letter that he wrote to institute this holiday. He said, "No human counsel has devised, nor has any mortal hand worked out these great things," and these great things being the blessings that we have. "They are the gracious gifts of the Most High God." And then he later goes on and says, "We set apart this day in November as a day of thanksgiving and praise to our beneficent Father who dwells in heaven." So all the Thanksgiving days or days of Thanksgiving throughout history up to that point all had something in common. And that was, it was a day of thanksgiving to God. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but the modern version of Thanksgiving has kind of shifted from that. And now we are giving thanks for things. So, we give thanks for our health, for our family, for our friends, for this country, for whatever. And, you go around the table. I don't know if you have ever done this, but, as long as I can remember growing up in my family, we would go around the table at Thanksgiving and tell each other what we were thankful for. And that isn't a bad thing, and that's a very good thing, but the shift in the culture of giving thanks for things has really tried to cut out the one we are supposed to be thankful to. In fact, the word Thanksgiving, and when we say we give thanks, it implies that we give thanks to someone for the blessings that we have. And so I would just encourage you this Thanksgiving week to make sure that you emphasize not only the blessings that we have and that we're thankful for, but give thanks to the one who makes them possible. And for prayer this week, Psalm 95 and Psalm 100 are some of my favorite Psalms of Thanksgiving. And Psalm 95 says this: "Come, let us sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before him with thanksgiving and extol him with music and song. For the Lord is the great God, the King above all gods." And then in Psalm 100, it goes on to talk about how we come before God in song and in thanksgiving and with rejoicing. And it says, "Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. For the Lord is good and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations." So as you celebrate Thanksgiving and you pray prayers of thanksgiving, make sure that you thank God for who he is and what he's done for us. And be sure to thank him for the blessings that he's given us as well. And some things that we can thank him for specifically in our own community. Josiah David Koch was born this past week. And so Richard and Jessica's new baby boy was welcomed into the world. So give him thanks for new life in our community. And praise God and thank him for the good reports that we've heard this past week as well. Laura and Tony seem to be doing a lot better physically. And so give him thanks for those good things that we have as a community. So I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I hope this helps you focus more regarding the heart of the season of Thanksgiving. All right, love you all.